All right, welcome back to another episode of the Edible Valley podcast, where we explore stories and flavors of Vancouver Island. Today, we are excited. I have Samantha Scholefield, who is bringing island taste to life here on Vancouver Island, connecting local restaurants, producers, and communities across the Comox Valley and Parksville, Qualicum Beach area. Welcome to the Edible Valley podcast.
We want to invite you as we embark on a culinary journey through the heart of Vancouver Island.
From the fertile fields
to the pristine waters of the Pacific Ocean,
we'll explore the stories behind the food that nourishes us.
Tune in to each episode as we deep dive into the flavors, the traditions, and the innovations that make this a true paradise.
Now please join us as we explore our Edible Valley. Samantha, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is super exciting. So let's start out about Island Taste Trail. What is this event that we're getting going now?
So starting tomorrow from October 29th to November 16th, we're encouraging locally owned and operated businesses to highlight all their local connections and what inspires them in terms of other local makers, fishers, farmers, producers, harvesters, and how they showcase those on their menus, on their wine lists, on their cocktail lists. And the idea is really to show that restaurants are such anchors in our community. We don't just provide jobs for people in the restaurants, but we provide jobs for those people that support the restaurants. So a winemaker, a brewmaster, a farmer, a harvester, somebody who's out fishing all day long. You know, we really bring that connection of ingredients and that maker culture into our restaurants, and then we highlight those ingredients and create beautiful, inspired, exciting, tasty dishes for the community. And with local restaurants, we know that 68% of every dollar that's spent in a local restaurant that is a locally owned and operated business stays in our local community.
That's incredible. Like a lot of people forget that one little thing, like how much money you bring to our community and the people in it just by supporting that local food.
Well, and that's where we know a lot of people right now are worrying about where they're spending their dollars. So they just might be like, groceries are so expensive. I don't know if I can afford to go out to a restaurant this week. But when they want to make that decision to go out and support a restaurant, I want to make sure that they understand and they're excited about the idea that that dollar that they spend in the restaurant doesn't stay there. That dollar that they spend in the restaurant goes out to the farmer or to the brewmaster or to the distiller, like it could be, or the kombucha maker, frankly. Right? It could be anybody, and so many of those incremental dollars are to boutique artisan creators that are following a trend. Denman Island Tea Company, or Tofino Kombucha, which is what I was just thinking of. Like and Phillips Soda, and Spinnaker Soda. They're creating sodas, and they were beer companies, and now they're creating sodas because a lot of us are drinking less. Mm-hmm. But they've been innovative. They're harnessing new trends. They're creating new flavors, and they're also on Vancouver Island. So the whole idea is to really get people excited about when you are spending money, making sure that you're spending it in your community and having that community impact, and then when possible, that broader Vancouver Island impact as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're blessed here to have what we have, and it's so good to be able to showcase that and actually promote it and get out there. And it would be such a horrible thing that if we don't support it and put that money into it, we'll lose it, right? Like we won't have the people to do it.
Well, and also people who are food entrepreneurs are inspired to bring great tastes to our community. And in the last few years, they're also providing a lot of like tasting room experiences. So it's not just that you can go to a tasting room for a brewery or a distillery. You can go to a farm gate and go and get something there. In Qualicum, you can go to Little Qualicum Cheese Works, and it's a working dairy. And you can do a tour of the dairy, and you can buy cheese that's made right there. You can bring your own bottles and get milk that's produced right there on the farm. So we want to also kind of tie in that idea that there's the opportunity to do an experience that involves food and agriculture or farming or just innovation in the food space.
I know. We're going to get off of what Island Trail is here pretty soon. But let's go back a little bit to just how did this all start? How did you come up with this?
I, for many years, have been coming over to the Comox Valley and supporting restaurant operators with different programs and education. Back in the day, I was involved in organizing the Dine Around campaign here, which takes place in the spring.
People still ask about it. And
Yeah,
they
and
love
well,
it.
hopefully it can come back. There are more people wanting that kind of program, so maybe Comox will have the campaign again. But when we were coming out of the pandemic, we were trying to see how we could support operators and how to also encourage people to go out and support restaurants. And, the theme for the last few years has been austerity for a lot of people.
Of course,
And also diversity, right? So
Right.
what kinds of taste people are looking for is totally different. What kind of food experiences they're looking for is different. They might want takeout. They might want bake at home. They might just want to do a small bite. They might want to do more lunches because they're comfortable with what lunch costs instead of going out for dinner. Or maybe they've changed their drinking habits, so lunch is a better fit for them because they don't want to say no to the beer at dinner, right? So we realized with Island Taste to create another food campaign, we wanted something with a lot of diversity and a lot of options for people to support restaurants, breakfast, lunch, and dinner whenever it works for them, and also at different price points. So it's everything from Honey Grove Bakery, where they're doing a pairing of one of their house-made, probably croissant, with locally roasted coffee. So you can do something small like that, and you're supporting a local business. Or you can go down to Gladstone, where they have a feature paired with their own house-made beers. So, or you could go high end, and you can go to Martins and Comox, and they're doing a moule and a clam and mussel. Clams from the bay just down here.
Fanny Bay?
Not Fanny Bay. The one that's Buckley Bay.
Buckley Bay, okay,
Buckley
yeah.
Bay clams, Alt Spring Island mussels, and I think they're pairing with Beaufort wine.
Okay.
But if it's not Beaufort, it's 40 knots. Don't quote me. I know you're quoting me. But
It's too late.
They're supporting, so they are supporting 3 different local vendors, and it's a higher end experience. But we have everything from that baked goods and a great locally roasted coffee. In Parksville, there's a roaster called French Press Coffee Roasters.
Know them well.
Jeremy is a really well-renowned roaster who sells his coffee to restaurants all the way up and down. So he is an example of a business that we're supporting because he has a restaurant. He has 2 restaurants, actually. He has one in Parksville and one in Qualicum Beach. But he also has his coffees on other restaurant menus because he's so renowned for his skill as a coffee roaster. So we have that ability to kind of, for price points, for experience, for time of day, to get people into restaurants, and supporting all of the creative people, particularly on your side of the restaurant, where the culinarians and the chefs who are like, okay, what can I get excited about? Like when I was talking to Marcus, he's like, we're all over local. We're all over this idea of what is from here. And so that's where his mussels and clams.
Well, that's what I have to say. Like, definitely for the Comox Valley, and I know Parksville follows right alongside, but we have so many great products, and so many restaurants are already doing this already. But it's just really amazing to be able to put a focus on it and put that lens on it so that people really make that connection, right?
Well, and sometimes, so a lot of people think of local as being the mussels and the clams, and not all restaurants can do like the high-end seafood or even, but people can buy local eggs, and they do a breakfast special with local eggs.
Of course.
Which there's a couple restaurants in the Parksville area that are doing a breakfast combination with a local egg farmer. But on the other side, you guys have a new restaurant in downtown Courtenay, the Dina Turkish and Kurdish place.
Good old mom, a great friend.
Okay, so they serve Gladstone beer on their menu. So they're supporting another local business. Their lavash is made in Vancouver by a local maker, so it's not Vancouver Island, but they're doing a traditional Turkish Kurdish dish, but they're pairing it with a brewery that is 100 feet down the road.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
we can include somebody like that, which is a really exciting taste. Or last year, Kai from Habibi's, he did a butternut squash soup with pepitas on top, but pumpkin seeds.
Oh, pumpkin seeds,
The
yeah.
roasted pumpkin seeds. And then with a traditional tea, but he gets his teas blended at Stonehouse Teas in Campbell River. So again, you've got Middle Eastern flavors with local vegetables and then tea from Campbell River. So we can really include so many different styles of culinary. In Comox, we've got Sunny from Curry Cottage doing a local feature. So we've got really the ability to bring so many different flavors that still express the value, still express the different people that are influencing taste here.
Of course, I can totally see that. And I like how that we can go from our high fine dining, like a Martine's, down to a nice coffee shop, producing, Honey Grove, right? Like just the spectrum, and you can really bring everyone into that loop, because I think sometimes you get into these events, especially with Dine Around, that was one of those ones that it was sort of became a little bit of elitist, really hard. They're like, no, we don't do 3 courses. That's not how our food works, right? So it's really interesting to see how this event, how it changes and makes everyone equal and the same.
Well, and that's why we also have Nikkei Ramen as one of our partners for this. Greg Matsuda is a leader in making his ramen noodles from scratch. He makes his bone broth from scratch. He's doing a tonkatsu ramen, so pork bone broth, but the noodles are made in-house. The tonkatsu is from a local farm. The bones and the pork are from an island producer. But they're doing so much of it right in that building. And yes, it's inspired by Japanese flavors, but the innovation of how it's being done and how it's being created is really, it's the story of Courtney, downtown Courtney, where this guy is bringing the tastes and authentic and delicious. All day today is a totally soup day, downpour like crazy. But that's where this has the fun element of being able to do it. On the other side of the street, so what is that, another couple hundred meters down the road, Butcher's Block is participating, and they do, a lot of great sandwiches to go. They have an incredible butchery team there. They're
Awesome
doing
team.
every smoked meat, sliced meat that there is, that you could possibly dream up. But they also do to-go meals for people who just want to get something and then take it at home. So
one of my favorite sandwiches is from there, right? They do a great job there. So
we have the ability to do both the higher end, the grab and go. It's just we wanted to have it be inclusive, but also still inspiring about how many local producers and makers are really being supported through all of these different outlets, and how you can get local inspiration no matter what flavors you have on your menu.
Yeah, now this is a silly question, but how have the local chefs and producers been responding to this, to be part of it?
So this is, I think it's year 4 that we've done it. And this year for Comox Valley, we have 29 restaurants and coffee shops and eateries participating. And that ties for the most. So last year we had 29. So if you're one more person and you want to join, you still have till tomorrow, then we can beat last year.
Right.
So good response from people. Some people are trying to understand how is this different than what they do every day. The idea isn't that it's different than what they do every day. It's actually a way to celebrate what they're really good at,
right,
and to help tell that story in a new way. So I'm from a restaurant perspective, it's not about making work. It's about recognition and about connection and about community, so that people really can see those escalating impacts. And restaurants are already doing it, but they may not be talking about it. And so we want to make sure that they are talking about it. And so we can, through this promotion, help tell that story. So I can't tell you what the current number is, but last week, when I had 24 restaurants from the Comox Valley, I had 36 different suppliers that were being supported by just 24 restaurants. And those were ones where they named the specific farm to say, okay, on our menu, we are we are supporting these farms. And it was, for 24 restaurants, it was 36 farms and producers and makers and growers. So I can't tell you what it is today because I haven't updated my records, but I'm sure it's over 40 now. So.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really easy in this community to just start adding those on as you go up, right? Like, it's just like, I know myself, every restaurant I've ever worked at, it always surprised me how much local food I brought in. And that's why I came to this town, right? I came back to this town after I moved away, because I spent all my time in other communities cooking food that was coming from here. So it's just like, why not? Like, and be proud of it. Like, we are very blessed to have what we have here. So.
Well, and also I think that it helps us be successful if we're able to, with any kind of locally owned and operated business, that you're supporting other locally owned and operated businesses. I mean, in some cases, people are probably hiring local cleaning companies or local window washing companies or local window decorating companies. The impact of buying local isn't just the buying Canadian or just buying Vancouver Island. It's also about people who have little ideas that are being innovative, capturing a market, and then serving a community. And so when we're looking at these local businesses, we're talking specifically about that food and beverage impact. But there's also all those other little impacts, like the dry cleaning business that's being supported for the chef uniforms, or as I said, like the person who's out there putting the decorations in the window because it's Halloween this week. So we want to make sure that we're able to just show that impact and also celebrate that impact, because that's what makes small business special, is that you're making buying decisions in the kitchen because somebody has brought you something that tastes great, tells a story of the place, tells the story of the season, and then you're inspired to add something special to your menu that week because you've got really cool truffles, or you've got really cool mushrooms, or somebody, like, all of a sudden there's an opening of, I don't know what kind of salmon, but something is happening, right?
You are getting me so hungry right now.
But that's the cool thing.
I know, it is.
In a way, what I see Island Taste Trail is taking what inspires you guys as chefs and culinarians and sharing that motivation and excitement for ingredients to our customers, and getting us to help tell that story.
I love that. It's because really food's all about stories, right? And it really and it brings us all together. Like, not only for the aspect of chefs and our local food, but actually being in a restaurant and being able to be around a whole bunch of people, which is something we take for granted, right? A lot of times. Well,
and restaurants are the places that people get together for celebrations, for recognition, for marking of milestones, but also just a place to, you're at home and you're like, oh, I want to go meet Buddy. I haven't seen him in a while. Let's go have a coffee. Those are the kinds of things that we do in restaurants. And for many people, they got away from the habit of doing it in the pandemic because they were told over and over again, being in enclosed spaces is complicated. And now we're ready to see our friends. So let's get back out there and try to get back into the habit of getting together with one other person, and just, even if it's just going to Honey Grove and getting that croissant, getting that coffee, that's a first step. And then the next time you're more excited and you can go over to Martine's, or you can go to Blackfin.
Exactly. There's so many great places. Okay, so for someone who's never experienced this, what is someone going to expect who's going out in the community to experience the Taste Trail?
So every business, as of tomorrow, will have posters at the front door, so that they can look and see that the business is participating. There's 8.5 by 11 posters and 11 by 17 posters, so you should see something in the window featuring a whole bunch of different styles of cuisine. They may have a feature menu that they offer you, but there will be a poster in the door. They can follow at Van Isle Taste Trail on Instagram or Facebook, and you can see listings of businesses. You can go to islandtastetrail.ca. No, islandtastetrail.ca. I think I own both of them. Islandtastetrail.ca. And then there's a tab for Parksville, Qualicum Beach, and there's a tab for Comox Valley, so they can look at the two different communities separately about where they could go. And then they can pick lists and say, okay, I want to try these different places. Each of the feature menus is on the page. So they click on the logo of the business that they're looking at visiting. They click on the logo, it pops up and it tells you what the feature is. There are a few where it still says coming soon, and some of those are in my email, so I'm hoping tonight I'll get them updated. But generally speaking, it'll say the feature, it'll say the pairing, what they're the two things that they're putting together. So, and it could be like a soup and a sandwich deal, or it could be a dinner with a glass of local wine, or a charcuterie board with 2 glasses of wine or 2 beers, something like that. So it could be any mix of different things. It's not prescribed as to what the person does. It just has to be about being inspired by local tastes. But the features are on the website, and we're doing some on-air promotion with the Raven, and what else? I think that's a good start.
That's a good start to get out there for sure. I mean, I know how busy you are, and I thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me today, because I mean, I think this is such a great event, and I think I'm excited to be able to go in the community and try some of these places, and I may just go to them, not just because of their special, I may have something else on the menu, but I just like the idea of going out there and bringing a friend or bringing someone I haven't seen for a while,
So
and
that's
connecting.
the other thing is I tell restaurateurs that when they sign up to participate, I don't think that we're necessarily telling people, oh, you have to have the feature. We just want to make sure that people know that these businesses are local champions. And here's an example of what their local support looks like. So if the particular dish doesn't appeal to you, you can go to another restaurant, or you can go support that restaurant because they're part of the campaign and get something off their regular menu. We don't want to discourage somebody from buying something off the regular menu, or adding a dessert, or adding a main course because it's an appetizer feature, or buying an entire box of croissants if that's what they want to do. What we want to do is to just show that impact and get people excited about how much of a community we have for food on the island, and how many tastes that can be truly local tastes when they go out.
Wow. Well, you've definitely inspired me to go out and do that for sure, even though you're kind of preaching to the choir here. So I won't keep you much longer, but I did have a question, because I know we're just starting this campaign. So we're starting 2 days. Is that correct? Yeah. But is there a future for this trail? Because it sounds like it's going really well. We've got lots of restaurants. Is this going to keep going for years and years?
Well, we hope so. I mean, the nice thing is that it's a low barrier to entry for operators. It has a big elevator impact of being able to include other supporting businesses. A couple of the social media posts that I'm planning right now are sort of like a trip. Like, could you go to Little Qualicum Cheese Works for the tour of the dairy? Could you then go for a coffee at French Press, and then go for a dinner at the Beach Club Resort restaurant? So, so kind of come up with some things that somebody could do as a little itinerary of things that they could combine into an activity. So I'll be doing a little bit of that this year. So we're hoping that it'll just continue to inspire people to tell those local food stories, those local drink stories. And hopefully Island Taste Trail can be part of that going forward.
I love how you say that, because that is one of my favorite things to do when I go into a new town that I barely know. And I go out for dinner, and I'll go into the first restaurant I find, and I'll sit down there and I'll order an appetizer and a beverage. And then I'll ask my server, I'll be like, where would you go next? And they always have a favorite restaurant. And then I'll do that. I'll go to the next place and I'll just grab a little appetizer there and another beverage, and then do the exact same and just repeat that and do that to 4 or 5 places. And it usually turns out to an amazing adventure, and you get to experience so much amazing food, and it's not as pricey, like as if you're just to sit in a place and have like this big 12-course meal,
Yeah. And we want to acknowledge that, everybody's tastes and everybody's interests are different. So if you can start with something little and it gets you excited, and then you see, okay, well, I went to the first stop and I tried this person's offering, like 40 Knots Winery. Mm-hmm. You can go there doing a fondue night. So you can go and do their cheese fondue. Or you can go out to Beaufort Wines, and they're doing a cheese plate with La Liberté, is it called? It's a new cheese place just in downtown Courtenay here. So they've got some cheese boxes that you can get, and you can do it to go, or you can taste there. So that's more of an experience than it is like a true dining experience, but it's a taste experience. Mm-hmm. So we've able to include a few of those. And hopefully over time, we'll be able to include more of those kind of tasting room experiences.
Perfect.
Because that's a different audience, and it's a different, and you can also sort of like learn about where the cheese is made or things like that, how the wine is made, which wineries here are actually growing their own grapes, which lots of them are. And not everybody knows that.
It's surprising how many are. And yeah.
We're hoping that just some of those little stories come out and get people excited. And when they try one restaurant, they think about trying another one.
Cool. And so going into the future, would the trail expand to other communities?
We have to have partners to help us put it together. So it would be nice to go into other communities and be able to showcase what other people are doing. The hard thing is that lots of these things, we need to have those anchor sponsors and anchor partners to have some visibility in the different communities and make sure that the restaurants believe in the initiative. And so we will continue to work on that. I know you and I were talking, maybe a place that we could target in the future would be Port Alberni.
Of course.
Because they have a emerging food scene. They have a lot of restaurants, and maybe they don't have a dine around campaign. So that would be another place where something like this, which has that flexibility, would be a really good fit. So there's lots of opportunity. We just have to figure out how to do the logistics on the back end to make it possible.
Didn't want to make extra work for you here, but.
Well, my next job is to go around to 29 different businesses in the Comox Valley and 15 businesses in Parksville, Qualicum Beach, and hand out posters. So the other thing is that maybe at some point it'll be big enough that there'll be more people than just me running around in the background. But right now it's me running around in the background. And I'm excited to do it, and I'm excited to support all the people that are inspired to share great food with other people.
Well, and I want to thank you for actually making the effort and actually pushing our communities to get involved in this and what you're doing and showcasing our local products and our local chefs and the food here, because I think that's something we forget to do a lot of times, and we take it for granted that we live in such a great place with great food and great people. So
yeah, to bring sort of the bigger Canada story right now is that we want to support other Canadian businesses. People are still looking at shelves and picking the things that are Canadian made, because we have a responsibility to help other individuals in our communities all the way from coast to coast to coast to succeed. And this is one small, tiny part of that story,
right,
of how building community starts with where you spend your money and how you choose to make your buying decisions. It does matter. And it can not just make a financial impact, but it sparks passion in other people and supports other people's passions. And the part I like is the passion part. I'm super excited about getting that guy in Tofino making even cooler flavors of kombucha, or making sure that Jeremy at French Press is winning more awards for his awesome roasted coffee, or the people at Rodo's, their coffee art is epic. How do we get those people jived up about going to work every day? That's the part I love, is making sure people love their work. And when we go into their businesses, they're thriving because we're supporting them.
That's amazing. Well, thank you. I'm not going to hold you anymore because I think we've gone a bit over the time, but I would like to thank you so much for sitting down with me. It's been a pure pleasure, and I'd also like to thank the Comox Valley Experience here for letting us use their boardroom.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great space. I actually gave a talk here a few years ago, I think, on local dining and restaurant hiring trends.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So thank you very much for having
All right.
me.
And so, I just want to put a little challenge out there, everyone in the Comox Valley and listeners of the Edible Valley podcast, to go out and check out your island taste trail, and really get to experience the food of your own community. All right. Thanks for listening.